You know, I love a good image transformation. And the one we have today is so simple, so quick, so easy. You'll love it. Check this out. We're gonna take this really dull sunset image and we are really gonna bring out those sunset colors. We're gonna make sure the rocks on this side have a nice texture, but most importantly that the sky has some sort of a flaming orange in it. So sometimes we use Photoshop, sometimes we use Luminar Neo. Today we're gonna use Luminar Neo. Let's get going. So as you can see, the image is really dull. So let's use a develop module and get our basics down first. So let's make that center and bring down the highlights to, let's say, -22-ish. But it's overall very dark, so let's bring up those shadows actually quite a bit. Maybe to something like, maybe even this. It's a good start, but we want to bring in some more dynamic again. So what we'll do, we're gonna go to the black and whites and bring down the blacks to maybe something like -27. That looks good. And then the whites we bring up a lot, let's say to maybe 70 or something like that. The next basic adjustment would simply be to go to color and give it a bit more color. So let's add to saturation and go to maybe 16 or something like that. And the vibrance also, why not, to about 16, 17. Now this was just one single adjustment sort of box, and look at that before and after. Oh my god. It's a great start, but we can definitely do more. So let's go down on our list here on the right hand side and head to structure, because I want to give it a little bit more structure. Not too much, but a little bit. So let's try to bring that up until we feel it's right. Maybe to something like this. Yeah, this doesn't look bad. It's just ever so slightly, but it does add some texture into the rocks and also these fantastic waves we have in the center. So I start to like the foreground, but the sky really is not very wow yet, right? So let's make a develop module only for the sky and try to bring this one out a lot. So before we make any adjustments, we're gonna go to masking and here linear gradient and make sure we drop that linear gradient so it only affects the sky area as best as possible. And then we move back to adjustments. So first we're gonna give it a touch of its white back. So we're gonna go to the whites and gonna bring them up a little bit, maybe to something like 16. The important part here though is the saturation, so let's crank that up like crazy. Let's go really mad, maybe something like 90 even. And now look at that before and after just for the sky. Now we have some proper color in there. And looking at it, we might even go a little bit more with the whites, maybe 23-ish. Cool, now I don't know if you can see that on your screen, but if we zoom in on the sky, there's a weird sort of dot here. Like there's a white circle here and there's a bit of dark color here. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but we don't want it. So to remove it, we're gonna close down our develop module, open an erase module, and now we use the brush to circle the things that we want to remove. So I want to get rid of that white circle as well as that dark circle on top. Once we have selected it, we simply hit erase. And there we go, much better. Now we don't have this weird blob in the sky right there. While we're at it, we can also remove dust spots because I realize I have a couple of them in the sky, but with a one-click solution, of course, they're gone. Now the foreground isn't bad, but I do want to draw the viewer into the image a bit more, and an easy way to do that is by adding a vignette or a dark outline around your image. The problem is, and I don't understand why Luminar is doing that, if I head to the vignette section and I simply create a vignette, like this, let's say, to prove a point, I cannot use a brush to paint it in or use a mask of any kind. I hate that, and I really hope they're gonna make that possible because they have it for literally any other function but the vignette. Why? Anyway, so we're gonna have to cheat a little bit. So let's make that go away as it was. And on the left hand side, I'm gonna right click on my current layer and I'm gonna say duplicate layer. Now I basically have the same image on top of the other one. So what I can do now is I can go to my layer properties for that duplicated layer, go to masking and go to linear gradient. And now I can make sure I only have that visible where the foreground is. So let's say something like this. Once I've done that, I can close down the layer properties and then go up to, no, not down to, vignette and create the vignette that I like. And because that layer is not visible in the sky part, you'll only see the vignette in the foreground. So let's make the vignette nice and strong, maybe something like this. Then we're gonna go down to advanced and make sure we feather this a little bit. So maybe something like, I don't know, something like this looks good. And we're also gonna add some inner light, which simply lights up the center part of your vignette. So let's bring that up to maybe 10. So now we have a vignette that only affects the foreground and not the sky. I hope one day really they change that. So now that we did change the light somewhat, there are some minor things on the rocks we have to take care of because they are simply a bit too bright in certain areas. No problem though, let's create another develop module. Let's bring down those highlights a lot, something like this. And let's bring down those whites all the way. And now we're gonna take that and use a brush to simply brush that onto our rocks that we want to have a little bit less obvious and a little bit less bright. So let's bring that in here on the sides. Awesome. And if we look at the before and after, we can see that they have calmed down a little bit. They are less bright and less like in your face kind of deal. And now look at this total before and after, and the before and the after. Isn't it insane how a few adjustments can bring a really boring, dull image to something colorful, nice, a proper manifestation of the memory that you have when you're at the place? But there you go, this is just a very quick editing tutorial. If you do like Luminar Neo, of course you can get it using the link in the description, and if you use promo code Let's Image, you may save another 10% on your purchase. Damn, look at that sky. Oh, nice. Anyway, enjoy the editing, and as usual, stay safe and have a good one.